Hello everyone, my name is Marc Posner. I'm the Communications Director here at Cypress College, and I'm honored today to be joined by Rowena Tomaneng, who is a distinguished alumna here of Cypress College and the Deputy Chancellor at the California Community Colleges. First, Rowena, thank you for joining us today, for taking the time to do this interview, and for being our keynote speaker later today as we cut the ribbon on the APIDA Resource Center.
Yes, thank you so much, Mark. I am delighted and very excited to be here. It's a homecoming, and certainly it's such a pleasure to be celebrating with the Cypress College community this grand opening of your APIDA Center.
So if you would, let's start, just share a little bit about your background with us, if you would, please.
So I am a first-generation immigrant from the Philippines. My parents immigrated here to the United States and landed in California when I was 5 years old. I consider Cerritos, which is a nearby city to Cypress, my hometown. And after high school, I actually paused in terms of my educational journey, and I worked full-time for about a year. And then I decided to come back to school, and I enrolled at Cypress College, where I had a fabulous experience.
So let me ask you, you mentioned high school. We'll give a shout out to GAR if I have that correct.
Yeah, shout out to GAR High School.
But in your path, like, strikes me so much as so many of our community college students. What brought you specifically to Cypress College?
I think going to GAR High School and also taking that year break and working full time, I wanted to be in an environment where I felt like I could focus. And so many of my friends were attending Cerritos College. And so I wanted to, venture a little bit outward and meet new people and just sort of start over in terms of my educational journey. And I felt that staying closer to home might not be as conducive to being successful.
So we're in the brand new APIDA Resource Center. I imagine this is not the only thing that has changed on campus since you attended here, but you described it a bit as a homecoming. What are kind of some of the emotions and memories that come back to you as you step onto campus?
So I actually haven't been on the campus for a long time. And as I was reflecting, on the event today, it could be that I haven't really been here. I've driven by here, but I haven't walked around in probably 2 decades. And so, of course, coming onto the campus was very familiar, just in terms of the view, of the college. But certainly many, many changes have occurred. Somebody reminded me that maybe when I was here, the road actually went right in the middle of the campus, and that was the case when I was here. And so now, there is a road that goes in, but then you've got the outer roads, and you have all of these wonderful buildings, and everything looks very updated and very well maintained. And the pond, as I was approaching, the interior of the campus was beautiful, and it was beautiful to see the diversity of students on campus.
So, we talk here about having a shared journey with our students. I'm wondering if you can reflect on some of the folks who were meaningful to you when you were here, and just some of the ways the college was able to help you.
So I often talk about my journey, and one of the reasons why I decided to pursue education and literature as a profession really started at Cypress College. So prior to coming to Cypress, I was already an avid reader, but I remember very vividly one of my creative writing classes, and the instructor, the professor of that class, was Patrick O'Brien, who I know that he has retired and that he also advanced to become the Dean of Language Arts. But really, it was his class that kind of sparked, my interest in literature. And I started really thinking for the first time that I could enter education as a profession, and I was focused on what do I need to do, because I was also still working part-time, but what do I need to do to stay focused so that I could transfer to a UC? And I ended up transferring to UC Irvine, and there I continued my focus on English and literature as a major. So Patrick O'Brien, I always, remember that class fondly. He loved the subject matter, and I felt like he was able to connect well with students and provide really great feedback to build confidence, amongst myself and my peers, as we were really building our confidence in terms of writing. Because we know that sometimes, for many students, especially immigrant students, there is anxiety, when they take English courses. And, writing sometimes is very difficult. But he was one of the instructors that really helped me gain confidence. There were a few other instructors, and I'm not recalling their names, but I know that throughout other disciplines, such as in history, at that time, we still called it Western Civilization in terms of that course in the social sciences. And then even some of my mathematics instructors were very, very helpful in terms of providing me extra support, through tutoring, because certainly I had that anxiety about mathematics as a discipline, and I became more comfortable in the humanities space. But those are just two other professors that I felt like helped shape me, as a successful student, and inspired me to continue and transfer and pursue teaching as a possible profession.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait to share that clip with Pat and
Yes.
make sure that he sees that. Just thinking about your current position at the state chancellor's office, what's something from here that really helped prepare you for that and prepare you for that path that's taken you there?
Mm-hmm. So I think there's much more to share, but if I were to keep it short, I kind of go back to the experience that I had here as a student, and beginning my student journey and encountering faculty and professors who could connect with me, understood, where I was coming from, and then they also helped me, I would say, navigate sort of the college experience, through either additional tutoring to help me be successful in courses. And then also, I think the recognition that for many community college students, we have other lives and we work part-time, to make ends meet. And back then, because it was over 35 years ago, we did not talk very regularly about student equity, student success, affordability, and basic needs, creating a campus climate that's very welcoming and nurturing for students. And then even how we talk about cultural responsiveness as being very critical to developing a sense of belonging. But that was already happening here, from my reflections on my time as a student here at Cypress College. So in short, when I talk about being a community college transfer student, I always say that I am a product of the California community colleges. I am one of the success stories, and that is because of the community here at Cypress College and the faculty and the staff during that time. So I begin there because in terms of my own trajectory, because I had such a great experience and I transferred to UC, I had similar positive experiences when I went to UC Irvine. So that compelled me to pursue my first graduate degree at UC Santa Barbara. And because I had role models of faculty like, Patrick O'Brien, Professor O'Brien, I said to myself, if I am going to be a teacher in the classroom, I actually want to be a teacher like him because I want to be able to connect with students. I want students to feel welcome. I want to, be enthusiastic about the subject matter, to spark interest and engagement. And then I want to provide, some coaching, a window to what the profession looks like. So all of that I've carried with me through the different roles that I've had in the California community colleges as a tenured faculty member, as a, emerging administrator. When I became an executive administrator, my 2 presidencies, and now serving as Deputy Chancellor, I just feel like those foundational skills and that love, for community, I found here at Cypress College and my experience.
It's awesome. You've touched on so much of what I wanted to ask. I think it would help our listeners to know a little bit of what's your day-to-day like as Deputy Chancellor? What do you do? How do you support our students and our system?
Yes, so the day-to-day is quite busy because for our listeners that don't know much about our California community colleges, the Chancellor's Office, we serve 116 colleges across the state, and now we've gained back our students. So that means we're serving over 2.1 million students. So as Deputy Chancellor, I do have the primary responsibility to support my executive team and, my deans, all of the team members that are supporting student affairs, academic affairs, workforce and economic development, research and innovation, and then also specifically student equity and student success. So it really is a very big task with many responsibilities, but it's very exciting work in terms of that paying it forward, which is what I've considered I've been doing, for 30 years now in the California community colleges in whatever role I've played. And what makes me so excited about serving at the state level is I have the opportunity to lead side by side with Chancellor Sonia Christian and our Board of Governors to implement our Vision 2030 goals, which really center on increasing equity in success for students, equity in support for students, and just equity in access, because we do know that we potentially have 6.8 million, learners, in California that do not have certification, or even an associate's degree. So that's what's exciting for me. And I think about those potential students as well as our current students in our institutions, on a daily basis.
I've noticed that almost everyone who works with Dr. Christian has become expert at telling their story and their community college story. Is that purposeful?
I think it's definitely purposeful. I think we are in a time when within higher education, we're always compared, of course, to our system partners, the California State University, and then also the University of California. And for community college students, we need to be able to tell our stories of all of the students that we serve because we are open access. That's what community colleges were designed to do. to be for, all Californians, whether you are right out of high school, whether you took a break like myself, whether you are like my mother, a new immigrant, who wanted to pursue nursing, as a profession. So she enrolled in community colleges. We lived in Los Angeles at the time, while she also did courses at adult school to shore up her English language skills. So I think it's critical that we tell the story of all of our students, as much as possible, whether that happens at our individual campuses or at the state level, because we have a lot of great stories to tell. And when we tell our stories, that is the way that we're able to connect with others, and participate, right, in our more inclusive society.
In terms of what kind of advice would you offer to today's Cypress College students, those who are following in your footsteps?
So I think the most important advice that I would provide for Cypress College students is, even if you feel nervous, about connecting with faculty members or connecting with our classified professionals or even administrators, with certain departments, be strong, and make that connection. Because if our folks, at Cypress College if they don't hear you and if they don't understand some of the challenges that you might be experiencing, and also some of the really great things that are happening for you here, then they're not able to make adjustments, to improve instruction or improve, the student services. And I know that here at Cypress, I know some of our colleagues here that they are very, very student-centered, and student success is a number one priority, and they do want to hear from students. So, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to visit a department. Don't be afraid. I'm here for this new APIDA Center. And so don't be afraid to come to the APIDA Center to see, what kinds of opportunities, what types of activities, that you could participate in, because certainly that building of community and building your network is going to be critical, whether you are going straight into the workforce after your certificate or degree, or if you transfer to a four-year university, honing those skills of networking, building relationships, and making connections, you'll find that that is so valuable, as you continue your educational journey and as you enter into the profession, because connection, relationships are key, I believe, in anybody's individual success.
Dr. Tomaneng, this is truly special for us. Thank you for being here for this interview, being here for the ribbon cutting, and I feel confident saying on behalf of Dr. Thayer and on behalf of those of us who work here, we really appreciate you taking the time to come down and to be with us for this special event.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm just looking forward to it so much.